Hello Vlogalogue, and how are you doing? DK suggested this week we talk about disconnect, so I have joined the Witness Protection Program. Okay, so that may not have been entirely accurate. I just really wanted to do that whole window exposure, hidden person, like, interview thing. So hey everybody, I hope you're having a good week. I am not in New York. I'm instead in this really terrifying place full of green pastures and pleasant temperatures. It's very uncomfortable. I'm actually in Wisconsin for my brother's wedding this weekend, so that's cool. But it's just so happens, since DK mentioned disconnect, the hotel here does have Wi-Fi, which is great. Unfortunately, it expires the Wi-Fi roughly every 10 minutes, so you gotta go re-sign in. So anything that you may be downloading, uploading, transferring during that break stops. Which has been kind of interesting. So I've been kind of using Dropbox, because that'll, you know, kind of start and stop. So I've been using Dropbox to upload things and then download them on my machine back in New York, and then do stuff with them there, so that if I get disconnected between doing things. Anyway, so yeah, DK decided that we're going to talk about disconnect, which is great. It occurs to me that probably the most disconnected moment that I've ever had was when I went to London last year, and it was an overnight flight, and I hadn't really been able to sleep beforehand, and so I got off the plane, and it was like 5 in the morning, and I get through customs and immigration and everything, and I looked at my phone, and despite the fact that I paid for international coverage for that month, it wasn't activating. And I knew that I had to get from the airport to the middle of downtown London and not get lost without any cell service, which is a bit weird. It's really fascinating to me to think that our parents' generation would, like, go on road trips without GPS. The idea to me right now of trying to navigate by a map alone just seems really kind of scary. As it turned out, like, Heathrow has like an hour of free Wi-Fi, so I basically went and I Google mapped everything, and I just screenshotted it over and over and over and over and over, so that I knew, like, I just screenshotted paths to the hotel, paths to the embassy, just so that I was completely 100% safe. It didn't help that it was 5 in the morning, I was sleep deprived, and I knew I wasn't actually going to be able to check into the hotel until around noon. It was, and then I managed to find a Starbucks, which is, you know, internet and coffee. I'm like, that's perfect. That's all I need right now. It does seem right now, though, that there are a lot of people that are talking about the idea of, you know, turn off your phone and go outside. You know, turn everything off, disconnect, try and, you know, do things, try and be with people, stop texting during your meals when you're out with friends, and blah, blah, blah. And to an extent, I suppose that you can make the argument that, you know, yeah, spending time on your phone rather than being social, this is a problem. Really just from a manners perspective, more than anything else. I do know that I've encountered people who will answer their phones during meals, and I asked at one point someone that I was close enough friends with that I could ask this without being rude. I said, you know, why is it that you feel you need to answer your phone? Well, it'd be rude to not answer if I'm there. And I'm like, well, isn't it? Doesn't the person next to you have priority? But at the same time, I look at so much of our lives, there's kind of this feeling, and maybe it's just that it's a pushback, but there's this feeling that the amount of time that we spend online digitally is robbing us of the real world. And I think there's also just kind of the idea that we may be overlooking that a lot of the real world has migrated online, and the idea that, you know, even Vlogalogue itself, I haven't met in person everybody on this channel. I've been fortunate enough to meet some, but the idea that we have a relationship and a friendship exists entirely online, and the idea that we should deliberately avoid the internet so that we can go live our real lives, well, that doesn't work for me, because 90% of my life is online. The other 10% is, you know, cleaning my apartment every few months. You know, eating food and everything, but I do think it's weird to think of that whole idea that we really need to unplug. There's definitely, you know, anxiety-inducing things about the internet, but I think really maybe what we need to do more is focus on how do we sustain our real-world lives so that being online all the time doesn't negatively impact our health, but also how do we go about living our online lives in a safer way for both our online lives and our offline lives. That maybe we need to stop flooding ourselves with super negative, irritating stuff online because, you know, it affects our stress levels. I've kind of gone off on a little bit of a tangent here, but hey, I didn't pick the topic this week, which is great. I've never gotten to do this. But yeah, so I'd be interested to know what you think. I know there's definitely, you know, a perspective out there that we are becoming too dependent on technology. But at the same time, I think maybe the solution is to make our dependence healthier, not necessarily that the dependence in and of itself is a bad thing. But I would love to know what you think, and I am looking forward to seeing what everybody else thinks this upcoming week. Have a good one, Vlogalogians. Bye.